Hey guys, it's Bear. It is Tuesday, December 17th, 2019, and I wanted to do a video today about something that I've wanted to talk about for a really long time. Two different kinds of things that I want to talk about. One is my religious journey and my conversion to Judaism, which I reapproached, about like a year and a half ago at this point. But that's like its own thing. Today, I was inspired to talk about the decision to wear a yarmulke full time. I don't know, like I just really kind of feel the need to like explain it and justify it, and just talk to the other people out there who maybe want to wear it but they're like afraid to, or something like that. So my transition to male and my conversion to Judaism are weirdly linked. I don't want to get too much into the backstory of my conversion process, but I started studying it in 1997, and started living as like an ultra-Orthodox Jew, which there's a lot of rules. It's a very like, kind of closed off community and stuff like that. And I studied it for a couple of years and then left it and came back about a year and a half ago to a different type of conversion. But back in 1997, I didn't know what trans was. I didn't know that I was trans. At that time, I just presented myself as, a gender non-conforming straight female. I was dating a guy at the time, and I had only dated guys at that point. So, for just out of like circumstances, I fell into an ultra-Orthodox community where the genders are very much separated, and like males participate in certain rituals in the temple and females do not, and the appearance standards of the genders are very much like very different. And I just remember, as somebody who was already struggling with my, maybe not gender identity, but my gender presentation, I remember like seeing those masculine aspects of Judaism and being really, really attracted to them. In that community, only men are allowed to like read from the Torah. God, there's so many things that like men do and women do not. And I remember seeing those things and being like, wow, I want to do those things, and I want to be more into the study and stuff like that. But I'm getting off track. I'm getting into the topic of that other video that I want to do. But yeah, so one of those things was the fact that like I really found the kippah to be kind of cool. It's like this dorky little like hat, and I just think and thought at the time that they're really, really cool. I like the fact that you can mix and match them with like different outfits and stuff like that. I've got like a ton of them, that match different things, including different uniforms, and I was always just really jealous, of those things. So this is the trans flag, but it's hard to see because of the lighting. There you go. Yeah, anyway, so that was one of the things that I was really attracted to. So I left that version of Judaism for lots of reasons and figured out that I was transitioned, and came back to Judaism, decided to do it reform for reasons that I'll get into in a different video. But I remember like one of the very first conversations that I had with my sponsoring rabbi was like, I want to wear a kippah. Like I bought one, I brought it with me to that meeting, and I was excited to wear it. And I'd put it on for service, or for those meetings, and I would leave and I would take it off and I would feel bad. I would just get sad that I had taken that off, and so I started experimenting with wearing it all the time, which is complicated because, Judaism has a lot of rules, and sometimes like, going into like a non-kosher restaurant and ordering food and stuff like that, like wearing a yarmulke could be really frowned upon, by, people that follow those rules. So yes, it is complicated. Yes, it's something that I struggled with, but I found that the more I did it, I just felt good, and I had good things happen because of it. So there's just a couple reasons that I wanted to talk about specifically, though, on this video, other than, it feels good and it's important to me. But I do like the fact that it sends a message. People assume when they see you wearing a yarmulke outside of synagogue that you are Orthodox. And I think that that's just something that we need to break down. I think that, there are people that would like to wear one, but they're afraid of presenting themselves as Orthodox or being called hypocrites or something like that. So it's just something that I kind of want to shatter, is that you do not need to be an Orthodox Jew to wear a yarmulke all the time. Furthermore, you do not need to be straight, cisgender, or male to wear it all the time. Again, I was attracted to it as a masculine aspect from the ultra-Orthodox world. I came back to Reform Judaism, and it's like, women wear yarmulkes. Mostly during service, but I actually have met a couple women that wear them all the time. And again, that's about shattering those boundaries and those views from the Orthodox and from non-Jews. Is like, no, I'm allowed to represent myself as a Jew without being, Orthodox, and furthermore without being, male, straight, or cisgender. All these things are things that people kind of look down upon, and they're like, well, your religion looks down on gay people, and it's like, no, certain people in my religion look down on gay people. Certain communities are very supportive of gay people, so it's just kind of about representation and breaking those boundaries down. Also, it has opened up doors that never would have opened. I've had people approach me, in public that never would have decided to start a conversation with me, if I hadn't been wearing a kippah, in the laundromat, or at the DFAC, the dining facility. I had a couple just there to get breakfast that were like, oh, wow, you don't see a lot of people wearing yarmulkes, and it turns out that they are people in this community that have kind of fallen away from their Judaism and are interested in getting back into some form of practice, and I exchange my information with them, and hey, I might be helpful to them in fulfilling something that's meaningful to them. That conversation never would have happened if I wasn't just half asleep trying to order breakfast on a Sunday morning. So yeah, it's opened up a lot of avenues. None of them have really been particularly negative. I have been called a hypocrite for, again, going into a non-kosher restaurant and ordering food. I keep kind of pseudo-kosher. I avoid the non-kosher animals, but I don't think it's reasonable to live this really strictly kosher lifestyle in modern day, and especially with being in the military. It's just not really reasonable. I do what I can, but yeah, I was called a hypocrite by another Jew, so the only negative feedback that I've gotten has been from other Jews, which I think is really, really kind of interesting. Non-Jews have been very supportive of it, and friendly, but that is another reason that I do it, is because of anti-Semitism. We have a rise in anti-Semitism right now. We have a rise in hate right now against a lot of minorities. That's people of color, and that's people of various religions, Judaism being one of them, and that's against LGBT people. We are dealing with a lot of hate right now across the board, and people are afraid, and people are especially afraid to represent themselves as a minority, because there are people who hate us, and there are people who want to hurt us. But that's part of the reason I do it. I've had people say that to me. I was talking to I was like going out to dinner after synagogue one night, and got out of the car to go into the restaurant, and one of the other guys was like, "Oh, you forgot to take your yarmulke off," and I was like, "No, I wear it all the time." And he was like, "Ooh, we knew somebody that used to do that, but he had like some incidents, and so he doesn't do it anymore." Okay, first of all, that's that person's choice, and that's fine. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make us afraid, of existing and of representing ourselves. That's terrorism, right? Like, if you really think about it. But I'm not gonna give into that. People want us to be afraid. And they especially want us to be afraid of presenting ourselves as who we are, or having rights. Now I'm talking about more than just Judaism. I'm talking about especially like LGBT and whatnot. And I don't want to be afraid. I refuse to be so afraid that I don't live the true me. I live as an out gay transgender person, and I live as an out Jewish convert. And I'm not like trying to talk down on anybody that doesn't like, that does the opposite, that takes it off or whatever. I'm not going there. But yeah, like, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm just going to be aware. I pay attention when I'm out in public, and I practice self-defense for many reasons, but one of them is the fact that there are people out there who don't like people like me, and I'm going to be ready for if something happens. I want to be ready to defend myself to the best of my ability, but I'm not going to be afraid. No. So yeah, it's been a struggle. There's been days that it was like, ooh, why am I doing this? Are my intentions good? Stuff like that. But in the end, it's something that's meaningful for me. It's something that I like doing, and I'm going to continue to do it. So thanks for listening, and I don't know if that's something that you give a crap about or not, or if you made it like, through 5 minutes of the video into, whatever. I can't do shorter videos. I've got too much to say about like, whatever. So thanks for listening if you listened, and stay tuned for if I ever do that other video about the actual like, conversion process and journey and stuff like that.